Yes, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. We are joined this evening by a very special guest, Newcastle United entertainer, Steve Watson. How are we doing, fella? You alright?
I'm alright, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate, I'm good. It's good to see you, mate. We're here at Fleet Street. Because every Monday at Fleet Street, you and John Gibson, another Newcastle United legend, is here doing a little post-match chat. So make sure you get down every Monday night to Fleet Street, here in Newcastle City Centre, for a post-match review. We're going to grab you quickly, just a quick 10-minute one. Maybe we'll have Steve back on the channel soon for a longer version of this one, where we can talk about your years at Newcastle United in the 90s.
Of course.
But for now, we'll talk about the modern day Newcastle United, a little bit on that. But before that, how's life, mate? How's Dalton treating you?
You know what? I love it. I love my job. It's a good club. It's a really good club. Obviously, northeast lad. I've grew up with Darlington as one of the one of the big clubs in the northeast, and it's had its ups and downs. Got in there. It was a really tough job last season. Managed to achieve our goals, and we're doing all right this season. We had a poor performance on Saturday. Disappointed to go out the FA Cup, but in the league, we're doing all right, and I think I think we'll have a decent season. What's
the difference for you now? And if you think about the playing days compared to the managerial days now, the day-to-day, how do you rate it differently, or what do you miss about the player compared to the manager? Because I guess you're the one now to tell him what to do, innit?
Yeah, no, you know what? You'll never get that back. You'll never get the playing career back. So it's best not even to think about it along those lines. You just got to try and pass on as much of your experience as you can. You know, I mean, I've played at loads of different levels. I've managed at loads of different levels. I've been through a lot in my personal life. So I think I've got a load to pass on. So I've got a lot of experiences to pass on. That's what I'm trying to do at the moment. Trying to use all my experience to guide people through.
What would Steve Watson, the manager, have been like for Steve Watson, the player? Would you have liked to play him there yourself?
I would, and obviously the best time of my career, playing wise, was under Kevin, and I've tried to take as much sort of motivational stuff out of Kevin as I can. He was an unbelievable motivator. You know, he made you'd go out of the tunnel, you'd be slapping the away the lads sign and thinking you're unbeatable. So try to get anywhere near as close to him as I could. And then I've picked up different things from other managers, like David Moyes was an amazing coach, fantastic defensive coach. We've got a really good, touch wood, a really good defensive record this season, and a lot of the stuff I try to remember from him as well. So just try and take bits out of everybody that you work with. Good stuff.
Well, we'll maybe touch on that, like I said, later on another podcast, another episode, mate. I know we're busy tonight. So let's talk Newcastle United. City, 1-1. That was the best performance of the season by far, surely, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was the most complete performance. I think, like we were talking before we went on, it's like we always seem to step it up against the really good sides, and I think that's a really good trait. And obviously, it's got to pick up your points, and all the points that you need to be consistently brilliant every week if you want to get to where Newcastle aim to get, which is, let's get it right, it's probably Europe, isn't it? So I think we probably are exactly where we should be at the moment. But I just thought, I just thought that we didn't sit back, which teams do against City. We pressed brilliantly, and our energy was brilliant. I thought three midfielders, I think, arguably were best for midfield choice. I thought fullbacks were great. So I just thought it was a real positive performance.
That's the thing going forward, isn't it? It's the consistency. It's great turn up against Man City, 12:30 on TV. Anthony Gordon's got the T4 flags out. But it's 3 o'clock, Brighton. There's the next home game, I believe, after Wimbledon in the Cup. So it's those games where these levels need to be at every time, isn't it?
No, it does, and I think, to be fair, the manager, I think what is exceptional at, I think Jason and Eddie and the staff are really good. The mentality is really good. We're not gonna pass teams to death. We're not that type of team. We're not a Man City. We're not an Arsenal. We're different, but I just think we're really good at what we're really good at, and as you said, just getting that week after week. With we haven't got a massive squad. I know, people constantly point at us at how much money the club's allegedly got, but when you're missing Cal and you're missing Isaac, it's not Isaac. You're not you haven't got an actual focal point at number 9. So when Anthony goes in there, he does really well, but he's different. Whereas Callum's really good with his back to play. So I just think we've found a way on Saturday to do really well against arguably the best team in Europe.
Well, we did, because obviously without Isaac, Gordon was leading the line as a number 9 if you like, and you've still got the likes of Jacob Murphy, who you say people are going to talk about, oh, you've got all this money. He's been here for years. He was playing under Steve Bruce and whatnot. So it shows what a great job Eddie Howe's done with that team, doesn't it? And we're finally seeing that midfield 3 that we've been desperate to see. Tonali, Bruno, Joelinton.
Yeah.
How did they do for you?
I just thought they were class, but I thought they can all do everything, which is like so you don't need to like label it as a sitter or 2 attackers or 2 sitters and 1 attacker. They can all do everything, and I just think that's what's really good about that's what was really good about the sort of the 3 of them playing together. You know, like they just they covered every blade of grass. They were competitive. They were class on the ball. No, I was looking forward to seeing them all together, and they didn't disappoint.
You have to say now, we talked off air before how well Dan Burn played. Pocketing Erling Haaland, who's obviously been on fire this season, scoring hat-tricks every week. Not when he comes to St James Park, he's got big Dan Burn next to him. Couldn't deal with him, could he?
No, we love Dan, don't we? I personally love Dan because obviously I was lucky enough to have him as a kid at Birmingham when Lee was manager. You know, Lee brought him to Birmingham when he was at Fulham, and his attitude when he was such a young kid was just phenomenal, infectious attitude, and he's carried that on. Delighted to see him in the black and white shirt to start with, but like just looking at him, that's probably his position. Let's get it right. You know, he's probably a bit more comfortable not being like hugging the touchline. So I thought the 2 fullbacks were really good. So everything Dan does, every positive for Dan, I'm delighted for him.
Newcastle had obviously got off to a good start of the season in terms of league position. Performances hadn't quite been there, but obviously that's improved on Saturday. There was a bit of pressure under Eddie Howe, which was ridiculous for me. When people are talking about, oh, is he gonna go to England, for example? Let's leave with that. Do you think he would go to England if the FA came knocking?
I think you've got to look at who applies the pressure. I don't think, certainly it isn't us as Newcastle supporters. It's you know, it's coming from a different area. So to me, you take it with a pinch of salt. He's been phenomenal. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Is he good enough to manage England? Yes, I think he absolutely is. But that's totally down to Eddie, and I think the choice will be down to him as well. I think if England wanted Eddie Howe, he'd have that decision to make. But at the moment, he's doing absolutely wonders for us. So I just think I take it with a pinch of salt, and I'm sure, hopefully, he does as well.
Hopefully, aye. Do you think that he would commit? Say tomorrow, FA rang him and said, "Listen, Eddie, we want you in for the national break."
Only, you know what? Like, I'm not trying to sit on the fence here. Like, only he could answer that.
Aye.
You know what I mean? So, like,
because that sees from both sides. Because on one point, I'm like, he would love to stay with Newcastle, the project.
Yeah.
But on the other, he's got to work with the likes of Jude Bellingham and become a hero and win a trophy.
To be honest, like, if you're going to be a manager, like, one of your big goals is going to manage your country, isn't it? So eventually, maybe that is what he wants to do. But I also kind of get the impression with Eddie that, like, he loves the day-to-day stuff, whereas England managers totally different. You know, you don't get the face time with the players that often. You spend a lot of time just going to games and all that. I think he's quite hands-on. Well, I know he's hands-on. So I hope. Hopefully, I'm talking him into saying here, but no, I think he's loving what he's doing at the moment.
Absolutely, I do as well. Wimbledon tomorrow night, and Steve, Carabao Cup. We all know how much we need a trophy up here. You know, it's been a while. We obviously came very close under you lot in the 90s, couldn't get it done. Wimbledon, though, you know, this is a rearranged fixture. Should have been last Tuesday. The flood stopped it. St James Park and the lights. We talked earlier about getting that consistency. And Eddie Howe touched on it as well in the press conference. You know, you have to do this, whether it be against Man City or a League to win.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think we're not in a position, like not many clubs are in a position where you can take anything lightly, and I don't think for 1 minute Newcastle will. You know, we're desperate for some silverware. You're right. Is the Premier League a stretch this year? Maybe, maybe not. You know, but have we got a realistic chance of winning the cup? Absolutely. So, nobody needs to tell you that. We will be firing on all cylinders. Or the approach to it and the attitude to it will be.
Because obviously there's going to be a few changes. There's talks now that young William Masula might get a start, Tonali and Trippier might go missing, but you're coming up against a League Two side. Obviously we're expecting to go through, but potential banana skin, innit? That's what the cup's all about, the cup upsets and that.
Cups are. I mean, we you know, my team, Darlington on Saturday, were a victim to that as well. You know, we didn't perform against a team from the league below us, so it can happen. It's the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, or different versions of it, are littered with them stories. So like, I'm pretty sure that we won't be part of that.
I hope so, mate, because like you say, I mean, Preston knocked out Fulham on pens, Coventry nearly beat Tottenham.
Absolutely.
To be fair, so let's finish off then. Will we win a trophy this season?
I don't see any reason why we can't. I can't sit here and say we will, but I don't see any reason why we can't. I think there's a handful of teams at the best can compete with us, and I really think that, you know, I think we're 7th at the moment, but I don't think there's 7 or 8 teams better than us. But we have to perform on the day every day. So there's a bit of element of luck in it, but I don't see any reason why not.
Let's hope so.
It's kind of sitting like spelks in my bum now. But
Spiking these chairs on Fleet Street, aren't they?
Yeah, there we go.
And finally then, you mentioned obviously the league position there at the minute. What do you reckon, after it's hard to judge, obviously we're only in the end of September here, but if you had to pick where you think Newcastle United will finish, where and whereabouts come May? I
think we're in the top 6. I think we're having a great season again, a really great season again. You know, I look at Liverpool, I look at City, especially Liverpool at the moment. I look at how strong Liverpool, City, and Arsenal are. I think we're probably of a little group of 3 or 4 to challenge them.
Let's hope so, mate. We'll have that. More European tours.
Absolutely.
Did you get going last year? Dortmund, Paris?
No, I didn't. No, I was at Darlow, I was at Kings Lane, I was at Alperton.
Should have rang in sick, mate. I would have got your ticket.
I know. I might think about that this season.
Next year, mate. We'll see you there.
Year, man.
Cheers for your time, Steve. Appreciate it,
Good to see you, man.
Thanks, mate. Nice one.
Cheers.